Hello. This is not quite the entire book 3 of Suzuki Cello. I had this recorded for my daughter, who already accomplished Berceuse. And during the recording, I unfortunately messed up Minuet number 3, so unfortunately that's not there either. And the last two are reversed, but the rest of it's there. This was my daughter's teacher. Unfortunately, we had to move, and she was very kind, allowing me to video for her playing it. And she's a fantastic teacher, although the cello she was using at the moment was a borrowed cello, and it had some problems with sound. She's an excellent teacher, and I thank her very much. So, over to you, Adele.
Lully Gavotte. Lully Gavotte has a few really tricky things, and then the rest of it's straightforward. The hardest part is the fast bit in the middle, so I'm going to play it slowly for you so you can really hear the pitches. Because the hard part about the middle section is not playing it fast, it's playing it in tune. So this is the D minor scale in the middle. And then there's one other tricky spot in the Lully Gavotte that's tricky for everybody, and that is the trill. But most of all, is the timing of the trill. So I'll back up just a tiny bit. This is about 4 bars before the trill. It's exactly the same at the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, and end. And now I'll perform Lully Gavotte. Boccherini Minuet. is the first of the minuets that you will play the full minuet and trio. So there are lots and lots of repeats. You play the first section and repeat it. You play the second section and you repeat it. Then you play a new section called a trio, which has a first section which is repeated and a second section which is repeated, and then you go all the way back to the beginning of the song and play the whole first bit again. And the hard thing about this piece is all the second position goes by really quickly, and there's some listening involved in the trio section where you really need to listen to the piano part on the recording. So Boccherini Minuet. The second half of the trio section is where you need to know the piano part so well that you can sing it, which I did the first time and not on the repeat, so you could hear it both ways. So you need to be able to go bum 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 bum, so that you're filling in those rests so it keeps nice and steady. That's usually the hardest part when you put it together with the piano if you're not really familiar with that bit. And then the other thing with this piece is just watching how much bow you're using. So that you can save it, so that you don't run out. For instance, the octaves at the end of each section. So you have a long note, change bow angles and jump 2 strings and tuck that in at the end. And it happens at the end of every section. So if you're already up here and you're on your D string, you've got nothing left. Okay, so you have to really watch that. So it comes after this bit. Okay, and then again in the next section as well. So the slurs are all clearly marked. It's just a matter of leaving yourself enough bow for the ends of the phrases. And noticing that there's lots of shifts, but most of them are second position. Okay? Alright, Scherzo. This piece has lots of doubles in it, so the way to do it is to learn it with single bows first, like in perpetual motion, and then put the doubles in. So this is your first step. Okay? Second step. To do the same thing, you're going to double the notes, but you're going to take little stops. What you're doing with those doubles is you're throwing your hand against the wall, pretend wall. Okay, you're throwing your bow to your right and letting it bounce back. So it's throw, bounce, throw, bounce, throw, bounce, like a ball going to the wall and bouncing back to you. So you don't have to control both directions. You just have to control the down, and then your bow will bring it back because you snapped it to the right, and the momentum will bring it back. Okay, so I'll do that one more time. It's all in the wrist and fingers, not the arm. You're not using very much bow. Okay. So the way to practice that is what I just did with the little stops in between, so that you're only doing 2 notes at a time. And when you get really good at that and can go a little bit faster, then you string them together without the stops. And then faster. And then virtuoso in the middle of the bow or at the balance point, little tiny bows, all fingers. Okay, but do all the different speeds so that you're in control of your fingers. That's all the hard bits for the fast stuff, is all in the bow. The slow section, the hard bits are all in the fingers, and it's because as you add vibrato and you have to vibrate and shift and extend all at once, the notes are easy. It's just putting all the pieces together. So I'll just do the middle section or part of it so your dad can zoom on the fingers. Section is all long bows. Okay, and then the final tricky bit is the last 4 notes, which just sound tricky and really special, but they're not that hard to play. You just have to make sure you have a ringing note right in tune. So this is what is written. First position with ringing 4s on A string and D string. Now you just play them like harmonics. And in order for them to be really ringy at the end, make sure you use a long bow fairly quickly. And then they'll speak if you're in tune. Okay, and now I'll perform Scherzo for you. All right, Beethoven Minuet. Yet another minuet, same format as the first one. So a minuet with 2 repeated sections followed by a trio with 2 repeated sections, back to the minuet. And that will never change. It exists forever and ever. That's the minuet in trio form. Minuet in G by Beethoven has lots of long bows that you very much need to control. So you have to not start too close to the middle because you need a little bow for the first 2 notes and then you need lots of bow for the rest of it. So this is like the first 2 bars. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, swear. And then you can change. So it's all about bow distribution. You need to figure out how many bows or how many notes you need to fit in one bow and save most of your bow for the last 2 notes. So don't waste it on the first 2. I'll do that one more time because it happens over and over and over in the song. Okay, and then the other thing is to try to weight those so that you hear ya da 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 da. So we have a crescendo on those first 6 notes, even though our bow is getting lighter. Which is why you want to save your bow for the last 2 notes. And kind of scooping into the string with your arm. So that you get a louder sound and can actually hear the progression of notes. That's probably the hardest thing in the whole minuet. And the rest of it is all learning notes and learning fingerings. But bow distribution is the name of the game. So I'll perform it and maybe touch on a few other things at the end. To mention, the shift at the beginning of the second section goes to 5th position. And then you have to get into 4th position and practice this with separate bows so you hear every note. Do it again. Shift to 5th position. Really confident with the fingers, then you throw in the slur. In important to have your fingers in place before you start the slur. Okay, so stop the bow before you hit the G. Land, and then play. And eventually the stop in between gets smaller and smaller, but so your fingers are ready. And then the other thing is the bowing in the trio. We'll get you to zoom in on the bow. The way to practice that is just on an open string. Long, up, 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 long, up, 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 up. So you get one note that's a quarter note or a ta that uses about half of your bow, and then you have 4 little notes that use the same amount of go going up, and it's all in the fingers. Okay, and when you actually do it in the piece, it'll be a slur. Slur, up, 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 slur, up, 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 slur. Okay, so the other way to practice it would be confident with it. Good.
Could you do that pattern again? Because I had it on the bow and I didn't have it on your fingers.
Oh, okay, sure. The pattern's just a G major scale.
Yeah, but you went up to 5th and whatnot, so.
Oh, on the ba-da-ba,
Yeah.
that bit? Sure. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So the 5th position shift. Second finger. Harmonic. Land. Going to the second finger where your 4th finger normally sits, but landing on 2 so that your 3rd finger is ready for the harmonic. Alright, Bach Gavotte is in C minor, so there are lots of low ones on the D string because we have E flats all the way through. And a gavotte is a dance form and it always has a certain number of sections. This particular one has an A section, a B section, then the A section again, then the C section, and then back to the A section. And the A section actually happens twice at the beginning, and then the other sections just change once. So here is the first section. So the hardest part with gavotte is the low ones, so always having a big extension, back extension, lots of times. Okay, it's a big stretch, just like playing hot cross buns. Keeping that stretch. And then the other spot is in the B section, which is the second section, is figuring out the difference between the first phrase and the second phrase, because the shift is different by like one finger. So here's the first part. From fourth finger to first finger. And it's actually a different note. G, A flat. Okay, then here's the second phrase. Sorry. Exactly the same. And then on to A string. So the difference in the phrase and just getting onto those low ones to finish off. I think that's it in that one. Lots of slurs. So Minuet number 3 by Burton. Now book 2 only covers second position, and this uses, okay, Humoresque, the song everybody wants to learn because it's on lots of recordings and it's a lot of fun to play. The music is very threatening looking. It's not as hard as it looks. Okay, there's some funny little symbols which really just mean stop your bow and use your ear so that you don't speed up. Okay, so it just goes like this. Stop, 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 stop. Okay, and if you practice it slowly and put the stops in, then up to speed, it'll sound more like this. Okay, it just gives that little bit of space. So that's it for the bowing, just lots of little slurs. Just make sure you stop the bow in between. Then you get the 7th position shift in the middle section, which is this section. 5th position. Now we're going to do it again. Drop 3. And your first finger will land on what is also known as your harmonic, except you're going to play it solid and not a harmonic. Okay, there is a lovely little exercise either right before Humoresque or right after Humoresque, which does it note by note, 5 notes, so that you can practice getting there. I think it does this. Practice that, and then and there's a few others, but they are written out in the music in your book. Okay, and the rest of Humoresque is all about telling a story. So take a look at the dynamics, decide what mood or picture or emotion that you want to be thinking of when you play it, and play from the heart. No two people will play it the same. Save your bow here. Allegro Moderato, the final piece in book 3. The hardest thing in Allegro Moderato is making sure you know what it sounds like so you don't end up back at the beginning when you should be approaching the end. Because there's some bits that sound very much the same. There are probably 2 sets of fingerings in your book, first position fingerings and some alternate second position fingerings. Doesn't really matter, play what you're more comfortable with once you've figured out the notes. I probably do a combination of the 2, but I know I marked it in your book. Somewhere in the middle there's a whole extension passage that does this. Big extensions. You always leave your first finger down. Shift. Still an extension. Shift. Still an extension. The trick is just to slide back on first finger. Rest of your hand just stays in extension. Shift. Shift. Okay, probably the hardest part in the whole song. And then the other hard part is holding the long note long enough so it helps if you sing while you're doing it. So this is just going into the long note. Because what you're listening for is what you actually play next. So if you sing what comes next and then go into what it is, it'll work. But lots of listening required. And then I don't know if you noticed, but the shift at the very end is the same 5th position shift as you had in Humoresque. See if I can find it. That second note underneath. Leaving your second finger on A string, just land your first finger on the D string. The note is a B. What's this B? You can play it on D string. At the same time you play the 5th position G. Okay, it's an option, it's not in the music, but it sounds fancy. Good luck! It means golden anniversary. So it's about remembering all the good times and sad times and happy times that you've had in 50 years. And it's a party, so it's celebrating 50 years of life. And it's all about telling a different story with each different sounding section. But there's no new bowing technique or new shifts in this song. It's all stuff you've done before. It's just about putting it in the order that they ask for in this song. Thank you.